Yeah, the Tom's
Woo!
Monster.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Rick Stojak down in San Diego giving us some tom-toms, man. That was awesome. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drummers Education Connection. I'm Bart Robley, and I'm here with 3 or 4 of my good friends down in San Diego. He just played a little ditty for us, Rick Stojak.
Hey,
Out,
everyone.
out in the Tucson area, Chip Ritter. And
Hello.
up in the Bay Area, Jeremy Steinkohler, jazz drummer extraordinaire and extra cool guy.
What's up, everybody?
And then over in Riverside, my dear friend Adam Parsons. Adam, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, Bart. Thank you so much, chaps. I really appreciate this. This is an honor. Really, truly.
This is
Get on.
this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, as usual, we're going to start off with some good things, and I want to make sure I get my good thing in. So I'm just gonna hog it and I'm gonna go first. I got some great things going on. First of all, D.E.C is a proud endorser and sponsor of In Ears, EARZ audio. And look at that. I got my new In Ears.
Oh,
And I'll tell you what, I've been using in-ear monitors, another brand, for many years. I decided many years ago that I was going to be deaf by the time I was 50 if I didn't switch over to in-ears. I had tinnitus brought to you by Sabian cymbals and Marshall amplification, and so I switched over to in-ear monitors, and at PASIC, we met so the great people at In-Ears, and they came on board as a sponsor. And I'm telling you, they fit fantastic. They sound great. They're amazing. So if you're in the market for In-Ears, check out In-Ears monitors. There's Jeremy's. He got his.
Got him yesterday.
Mine are purple. Yours
Mine are blue.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then the other thing that I'm really excited about is my friend Adam, who is on the show today. There's my purple ones.
Nice.
My friend Adam, who is on the show today, we're going to talk about this. He is in a lovely drum room, as you can tell. He has a place called Adam Parsons Drum Room over in Riverside, and I am honored to be the first drummer to come in and do a master class there, and that's going to be this Saturday at 5 p.m. And I'm so excited about it. I've been sitting in here practicing, going through my master class, everything I'm going to talk about and say. And it's just such an honor for me because not only is Adam a great guy, but he knows every freaking drummer on the face of the planet. He could have called Thomas Lang. He could have called Vinny Appice, but he decided to go slumming with me. And so I'm doing the first master class there, and I'm so excited about it. And so we're going to talk about that today. But those are my two good things. I'm going to toss it over to Rick. I'm done yakking. Rick, what do you got going on, buddy?
Oh, man. Well, let's see. Gene, my brother-in-law is Gene Hoagland. Adam, he said to say hello to you.
Oh, Gene, fantastic. Wow.
Yeah. He's my brother-in-law, my great buddy, and we rehearse at the same studios where I do my teaching, and his room is down the hall. And he's getting a brand new Pearl kit this week. So I'm gonna pop over and visit him and his tech and shoot some video of that, a little bit of unboxing of the Pearl kit. It's going to be matte black, and there's some snare drums coming away. So it's like a drum candy store over here. So
Nice.
So what about you, Jeremy? What's going on what's happening in San Francisco?
You know, I just want to riff off of that drum candy store because Bart sent some pictures of Adam's drum room. And that's like, if you're going to a candy store, Adam's place is like the Willy Wonka. I'm gonna get sucked into his drum room and never come out.
Oh, dude, he's got the everlasting gobstopper. Remember that thing? Adam has that.
Things are good, man. I can't complain. And I was also going to talk about the new in-ear monitors I got from In-Ears, which I'm super psyched about. That's my first pair ever, and I put them in my ears, and guess what? They fit perfectly.
Right?
Yeah, that's what happens when you send them the molds of your ears. Anyways, super excited about that. Super excited. Been talking with my son Evan, who's a a jazz piano player. We're gonna make a record next summer when he comes home from school. I'm really, really excited about that. Had another couple of great gigs this past weekend, and just living the dream, man. Things are good. Cool. How about you, Chip?
Hey, man, you know what? My Eagles are in the Super Bowl. I'm pretty stoked about that still, even though that was my good thing for last week. But today's good thing is we're going to be talking to Adam Parsons, and he manages Europe, Uriah Heep, Lita Ford, Thin Lizzy, among others. And I'm stoked to talk to him about his drum room and have him on the show. So go ahead and throw it to Adam. Adam, do you have a good thing you want to share with us?
I do. Thank you, Chip. And thank you, Rick. Please give my regards to Gene. It's been a long time since I've seen him, but yeah, great guy and beyond a great drummer, obviously. So no, I'm just post Christmas. I'm a manager in the business, and it's getting crazy, getting ready for the summer festivals, and the last minute of those are coming in, and we're announcing tours all the time at the moment. So I'm just no sleep till Hammersmith, as they say, so it's crazy, but it's great, and and I've got this drum room. Actually, I've just set it up. This is for Bart's masterclass here. You see what
Man, that's fantastic.
I'm just literally getting ready for that, and it's going to be great, and it's Saturday and it's coming fast, and it's going to be awesome. So
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. We're going to have a lot of fun there. Cool. So Adam, as Chip just said, I'm looking on your website right now. So as Chip said, Europe, Stiff Little Fingers, Uriah Heep, Black Star Riders, Lita Ford, Ricky Warwick, Thin Lizzy, The Almighty, Wayward Sons. The list just goes on and on and on. Not only of the people that you do manage, but the people you have managed. You and I've had conversations how you used to manage Motorhead, and there are some great Lemmy stories that you told, and you also told me how you got in the business and what got you started wanting to be a manager. Because the other thing, I mean, it's probably obvious that Adam is also a fantastic drummer, just a great drummer. We go over there and sit down at his room and beat on practice pads and just had a great time. But Adam, how did you get started in the business, and what brought you in as on the managerial side of things rather than I want to go all out as being a drummer?
Well, just want to confirm, I was part of Motorhead's management. There was another guy that was their main manager before I came in early, like 2001, for 9 years with Motorhead and was part of their management team. But I saw The Song Remains the Same, and I saw Peter Grant, and I wanted to be Peter Grant. I didn't particularly want to be John Bonham. I mean, it's crazy, but that was kind of before I got into drumming. I got into drumming at 15 because I thought it was a good way of being in a band and getting chicks, and I became a drummer because guitar playing seemed like all the chords and scales and all that crap, and I thought you could just literally knock out a beat, and that was it. So yeah, at 15, I found drumming. I was playing in bands. I always was the manager in those bands, even if we had an outside manager. They were really just sort of investors, but I was always the guy doing all the work, organizing everything. And I played throughout the 80s in London. Almost got signed, didn't quite, but there was no money in it. You know how that is, being a up and coming drummer. So, and in the late 80s, I got a chance to go on the road as a tour manager, and immediately thought, well, this is great. I'm in a tour bus, I'm getting paid, and I'm touring doing bigger venues than I was playing in. So, and then I started managing a guy. What had happened was I actually started managing a guy I used to play drums with back in '84, and then that was like '89 time. And then I decided to fund the management side of things. I thought I'd be an agent as well. And the agent we had for the last band I was in moved to America. All of a sudden, within about 3 weeks, I had about 30 acts. A lot of them were his, because he'd gone to America. So in England, where I was at the time, in London, I ended up acquiring all these acts. So I was an agent and manager. I managed other bands as well. And then I worked for a big promoter in the 90s, and we were doing a lot of big shows, Metallica in big arenas, sort of small stadiums, a lot of comedy. And I got my a real good knowledge of the promoter world from that. Then I went out on the road as a TM, tour accountant, PM, production manager for a bit. Then in 2000, I moved to the States, and I just threw my lot in and was full-time management from then. So as I say, I worked with Motorhead for about 9 years. I was managing, quite a few bands, and and there you go. 25 years later, here we are.
Wow.
Adam, there's so many aspects to what happens for a band behind the scenes that people don't know. Can you kind of explain what a manager does?
Well, the manager's really, he's the first line of fire from the artist. You've kind of got, the artist, the manager. Below him is the tour manager, the agent, the record label, and then you've got all the other, peripherals below that. So I'm the buck stops guy with. I'm the guy that they come to. I don't only have bands, I have crew that rely on me for money. So I've got to generate money for these acts. I've got to generate income. I've got to, it's constant artist development. A lot of my acts are heritage acts, but I find it's constantly developing that artist. Even though a band like Uriah Heep's been around 55 years, we've just, I've got to come up with new ways to reinvent them, which is not easy. And, one of the things that people say to me is, how do you manage a band? And I use this analogy, which I really like. When you get in a car, where do you go? You either pump it into the sat nav, you've got an old-fashioned map book on your seat, or in your head where you're going. Well, management's the same, because if you get in a car and you don't know where you're going, you just drive around for hours going nowhere.
Right.
So you've got to have a plan. You've got to come in. I don't take bands on unless I get offered a lot of bands, a lot of, good bands, great bands, older bands, but unless I have a vision for them, I'm just driving around aimlessly going nowhere. So
Right
really, what does a manager do? He's the whipping boy as well, because whenever there's a problem, it's the manager's fault. Whenever there's a success, it's the band that's
Right.
Right.
So, Adam, when you take on new bands, when you consider new bands, what are the criteria that you sort of judge whether this is a worthy band for you to take on?
Well, we've just taken on a brand new band from the UK called Jailer. They're 19 years old. I got a tip that I should go and check them out, and I did. They blew me away, and I can see them being an arena act within 5 years.
Wow.
And then with a major agency, we've got a major record label looking at them right now. We're just going through the motions with that. But what I see a vision. If I don't see a vision, then I've had these acts that have come across my doorstep that I've turned down and have gone on to be big things. People say, "Are you regretting that you turned down so and so?" I go, "No, because I didn't have that vision." So if I don't see it, I can't do it.
So, but is the vision based just on like a gut feeling, or they're sort of like, they have to have a certain number of followers or a certain social media presence?
This band basically it's a great because it's a clean slate. They're new. They formed in music college a year and a half ago, playing the local scene, been doing well locally, selling out all the places they do 200-300 caps, been getting a bit of interest on the national UK circuit. But no, I see talent. What I see great guys. They're very good behind the camera, and it's all about social media now. It's all about selling your product, marketing your product to the masses so they're great at that. And and there's been a lot of other bands that have come across that have been great, but don't just quite have it. This band does, and I see it now. We will see. I've taken on a couple of new acts in the past where I've seen the same thing and it hasn't quite worked out for whatever reason. But again, I love It's great to discover new talent and develop them, and hopefully have a big win at the end of it.
Nice. Hey, Adam, I was wondering, what's your biggest problem as a manager that comes up with bands? Is there something that is a common thread that you deal with that you're like, oh, not again? Is there something that you struggle with?
Yeah, them wanting money all the time. No, but, I mean, it's true. I can only, I'm not money motivated. I find that you do what you love, you put all your energies into it, and money will come. And I've done all right. I'm not rich by any means, but I've got I can rent this drum room and have my 35 kits and 145 snares in it, and I'm not hurting to pay the rent every month, but so. And I wouldn't have done that if I'd stayed being a drummer. I can assure you, because I appreciate the compliments, Bart. I didn't think I was that good a player. You know what I mean? And that's why, but again, my whole thing was at 14 years old. I wanted to be a manager. It's funny, the rise of Facebook and all this, and some of my old school friends I connect with, and they say, "What do you do?" I go, "Well, I'm a manager." And they go, "Well, you wanted to be that at 14 years old at school." I went, "Yeah, I know. Is there a problem now at 60 years old almost, being what I wanted?" This is why I'm never going to retire, because I love what I do. I could do with a few less hacks probably, but again, I'm motivated. Like me and Bart were talking, we get up every morning wanting to do what we do.
Right.
After 4.5 hours sleep, I was up at 5:30 this morning, raring to go on a Zoom by 7, and with Europe, with the promoter over there. It was great, and I'm buzzing, and now I'm talking drums and management. So two things I love.
What more can you ask for? I got a question for you. You and I were talking about a couple of the bands that you managed, and a couple of drummer names came out that you had worked with them. And I'm going to go ahead and throw them out there. You talked about how you had managed Tommy Aldridge's career for a little while when he was in Thin Lizzy. And then you also worked with Mickey D. Now, my question is, you didn't manage their career directly. You just managed them while they were in the band. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in doing so, did you manage any aspect of their individual career, or was it just as the drummer for the band?
It was just the drummer for the band in that case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if you had somebody like Aldridge, let's say, and you're out on a tour with them within Lizzy, and he has a day off and he's going to do a drum clinic somewhere, you wouldn't be part of that. That would be his own thing.
Actually, Tommy did ask me at one point, could you find me some clinics? But it was the time, this was like 2008, 2009. And, it was, again, just trying to get, he'd already had his contact. He was already doing master classes and clinics, and he was just looking for me to route a tour of it. It was just trying to, at the time, I was only working with Tommy for about 9 months at that point, because then again, this is something, it's one of my seminal points of my career. I had to fire Tommy Aldridge from Thin Lizzy. So firing a guy like Tommy Aldridge from a band is well, I say I'm firing. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong at all. I just wanted to get Brian Downey, the original drummer, back in the fold. After John Sykes left the band, I wanted to revamp the whole band, and I was Scott Gorham's personal manager as well as the band's, and I had this vision again to try and revamp it, and we ended up, a year and a half later, doubling the attendance of the last tour that Tommy Aldridge and John Sykes did. So, I wanted Brian back in. I'm still friends with Tommy. We still talk, Christmas and birthdays, which is other. We send text and everything. And I see when I'm on the road, when he was on the road with Whitesnake, we did a lot of shows together with some of my bands. So we'd always say hi. Tommy's great. Tommy's one of the nicest guys on the planet. And I wish I could have done more for him at the time, and I wanted to. It just, the timing wasn't right at that point for me to get it. Plus, I'm really busy. I'm 24/7 managing bands. You know what I mean? It's difficult to, you know. Yeah.
Adam, do you work with a team, like a publicist and a social media person and maybe even a lawyer, and do they, or is it each band has their own set of people that's separate from you?
No, I have a team that work with me under my company. We have 3 people in the UK and me and my assistant over here. Because 90% of our work is in Europe, to be honest with you, with our bands, you know. Even though they do tour the States, and it's good for me to be, you know, I'm basically in Los Angeles for the weather. Well, you know, I've been here 25 years and I love it, but I go back to England for 4 to 6 times a year. You know, in fact, I'm off in a couple of weeks, not even that, 12 days. You know, so yeah, I have a team and I have labels that I work with, and we have a team of publicists. We have lawyers that we work with. I have my own lawyer, my own accountant, and my own accountant does 2 or 3 of my bands as well. But I've got other, you know, I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket, but yeah, we have a team, and a lot of them are, you know, the band they've had a lawyer for years, and when I manage the band, when I come in to manage the band, the lawyer comes with them, you know.
Right.
But, I'm very loyal to people that are good and honest people. Sorry, we mentioned lawyer and honesty in one sentence. That's a bit of an you know. It's you know, but of course, you know, like with the new band Jailer, they've not got a lawyer, they've not got an accountant, they've not got anybody right now.
Right.
You know, really, well, they one of their parents does all their accounting, but when we get them to a certain level, then I will, you know, I've got guys already in mind for that, you know, to put the team together. Yeah.
Right. I think it's good to realize and talk about this idea. A lot of people don't understand how many people are involved with the success of a band. You know, they just think it's the musicians and maybe a manager, but really there's a whole team of people that are working behind.
You absolutely need a team. You can't do it. You can't do it all on your own. I thought I could when I was younger. Learned very quickly you can't. You know what I mean? You know, you need a good team around you. Absolutely. I've got my people that work for me, for my management company, are first class in every way, and I'm extremely lucky because you don't always get that, you know, and they're great. From my assistant who's been with me for 12 years now, I think, you know, to one of my managers in the UK, she's just incredible. My tour guy who does all my tour production, tour accounting, he's beyond great. I mean, you know, so yeah, saves me a lot of. Ultimately, the buck stops with me. I've got to manage. I've got to oversee it all. But it's you know, it's having a great team is the, you know, and most successful businessmen will say that they can't do it alone.
Right. In any business, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Adam,
it's a bit like having a drummer. You know, you need a great tech. Yeah. Really, if you're a touring act, you can't do it yourself. You know, you can't set up. You can't. When you're on stage, if something happens, you need somebody there. And so, you know, so it's just equating it back to drumming. It's the same thing, really. You need that great team.
Yeah.
Adam, after a band invests all their money and spends all their money on the big team to get the show on the road, so to speak, and make the records, are bands making any money? You know, what's the income stream? Where is it coming from?
This is why I'm a manager and not a drummer. I said, no. I mean, it's hard to. No, I mean, of course, now with physical product virtually nil for even established bands, and I deal in the heritage classic rock market, and that's where the last bastion of physical product is. I'm talking vinyl and CDs, and you know, streaming numbers for, again, older people, the older demographic. I'm talking 40 plus. Don't sit there like when I was, you know, just going back when I was 15 years old. All I did was listen to records, go to shows. I quit school. I didn't care about school. I wanted to be a manager in the business. What I need school for. stupid. I mean, if you're 15 years old, listen to this, and you're in school, you stay in school, you go to college, you go to university, you do whatever you can, because there's nothing that replaces an education, and that's the only time you've got a chance to do it. You know, I'm a bit street smart. I'm not stupid, I know, but I don't have the certificates on my wall. Saying that, you know, I think, boy, I've totally lost my stream of thought there, Jeremy. Just repeat that.
Income streams from CD sales
yeah. So just going, you know, so it's really all live now. That's where bands make their money, and this is why ticket prices have gone through the roof. But we're also, you know, what's again, when you're dealing with C and D level acts, which is what, and when I say A's are the big stadium acts, like your Taylor Swifts, your Adeles, you know, your you know, Foo Fighters, your B levels, your arenas. And I manage arena, like the band Europe. They do arenas in South America. They do arenas in the East. But they're a big hall act. They're like what I would call a C act, which will be the equivalent of you know, in America, sort of like a small small shed, you know, and like, you know, like a hall, you know. And then the D's are sort of larger clubs up to like 2,500 cap, and then your E's are your club level. That's the way I look at it. So I'm mainly C and D level acts, obviously E with some of the new ones. And you know, people moan about the ticket price, but the cost of putting an act on the road is incredible now, especially post COVID, and that's where they make their money. You know, a lot of fans don't equate. They think that the bands owe them. We should play. One of my biggest bugbears. Again, I had it this morning. Announced a tour, and why aren't we playing a city 30 miles from the city we're playing? Well, why don't you get in your effing car and drive the 30 miles and see the band you know, but you know, of course they're lazy, and these people are not going to come anyway. And if you played in their backyard, they just stay in their bedroom asleep. They're just the way they are. But you know, they don't understand the cost, and they think bands should be doing it. I bought your record once, so you should play in my town. I demand you, and I demand the ticket price to be cheap. You're earning money from it. How dare you? They don't see the big picture. You guys are all musicians. It's like, you know, it's like me calling the CEO of Walmart on Christmas Day and said, I bought a tin of beans from you 10 years ago. I need to go around your house and have Christmas dinner with you. You know, I mean, that's the way some people equate the bands. They just think, you know, like, you know, you're charging for an autograph. No, we're charging for a VIP experience. We're not. You can by all means wait by the bus for 3 hours after the show on the off chance the band's going to come out, and we will never charge for an autograph. We're not doing Comic Con. None of my bands do that sort of thing. You know, it's what we are doing is we're offering a product for you to buy. We're not putting a gun to your head,
right?
You know, but that's what we get. That's what I get a lot as a manager. I'm blamed because they think musicians should not earn a living because they don't see it as the music business, and I'm all for the business.
Yeah, I think people don't understand how musicians make a living anymore.
Right.
No, well, I mean, you know, it is really hard. I'll be honest with you. You know, you know, I get so many guys that are amazing musicians that can't do it. That's why a lot of drummers that I know teach. You know, they're playing in tribute bands, and that's great. I mean, that's a way of earning a living. Right. You know, I was talking to Bart about this. You don't need to necessarily set your heights on being like a stadium act. You know, there's a very small percentage of amazing talent out there that get to that level, and even then, you're probably only on a straight salary. You're not going to be a millionaire from it,
right?
You know, but so yeah, That's you know,
that's one of the things that the further I've gotten into the business, I'm really fortunate to do what I do with Sam and do what we do. The further I've gotten into the business, the more I've realized that, the dream, if you will, of, being rich and famous, it's not what it is. It is a business. There are rich musicians, there are rich and famous musicians, yeah, but there's a lot of guys who are out there who are in a touring band who are the drummer and they get a salary and that's what it is. It is what it is. And as you said, people have when you see somebody on stage playing, you're witnessing the end result of years of hard work, and as we've been saying in the show, a team that is behind that band to get them to where they are at. It's an unbelievable amount of work, and I think that every musician is, I earn every penny I make, I can tell you that.
There is a lot of top class drummers that are in major acts that your average Joe on the street would say they've made it.
Right.
You wouldn't believe the amount of people that I meet, and the first thing they say, knowing I'm a manager, can you manage me to make me more money? What do you suggest so that I can improve my income stream? And so even though they are, from the general public's point of view, top of their game, they're still wanting to earn a living because, as you say, they're on a straight salary, which is, and touring costs are so high. And I'm not saying that, when you're at that upper echelon of stadium acts, that there's not good money for them, but it's like not, it's not what people think it is,
Yeah.
Right.
And because the costs of, by the time you take off, if you're touring Europe and even let's say an English band touring America. I just did a tour last year with 2 English bands. From the start, okay, we got 3-year O1 visas, but with everything, with the lawyers' fees, with everything, it was close to $50,000 just for the 2 acts, band and crew visas for that. Now you can put that over a 3-year period, but it came out of that tour's money. So there's 50 grand off the top, and this band were only doing large clubs, small theaters. It was a double header. So immediately you've got that. You've got 30% withholding tax off the top. Now you can do this thing called a CWA. It's the IRS's with overseas withholding tax department, and you can put in you can put in an application to get that reduced, because we do. You can't take 30% off the top. Nobody can do that. But again, you've got the accountant, you've got the all the people involved with that. That again, there's a big 4 to 5 figure bill comes through at the end of the tour. The tour buses, the fuel, everything else. Since COVID, the tour buses have gone through the roof. The road cruise prices have doubled. So by the time you do all that and you take everything off the top, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a commission guy and I take it off the top, off the gross. Some managers do a split after cost. I don't. I do a lesser cut off the top. But because it's easier to accounting, there's no arguments. I believe I put in the time and the hours to make this happen. I get the bands the money, so they can afford to do it. But there's a lot of times I've had to, I'm not proud in saying this, but I've had to throw in my commission first off to make a tour happen, or try to make any money whatsoever, And I'm still owed money for tours back from 7 or 8 years ago, which I'm probably never going to see because I've thrown that in. But I'm not, as I say, I can still buy a snare drum tomorrow if I want, which I might do.
Right. Nice. Hey, Adam.
What do you mean might?
Adam. Rick, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So, Adam, do you have any thoughts you could share with younger musicians who might be watching, who are thinking they want to become a professional player? Do you have any thoughts on how we could, give them a fighting chance of steps?
Well, the first thing is become the best player you can. But with me, it's 30% talent, 70% being a nice guy and getting on with everybody. I know guys that have got 1,000% talent, but minus 990%. They're just assholes, right? You know, and nobody wants to tour with them. They're hard work, you know. And it's the same with crew. It's the same with anybody in this business, you know. I mean, you know, me and Bart only met a couple of months ago. What a great guy. Not only is he an amazing player, but he's become one of my best friends now because we just get on. You know what I mean? You know, and
well, give him some time.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that $50 when I see you on Saturday for saying that. I appreciate it.
But, it's like Bart even said to me. Bart said to me, if there's ever a position that comes up, you know, would you consider me? I said, of course. You know, and it's mainly because you're not only. I mean, you have to be able to play. Don't get me wrong. If you're a complete douche on the drums, you're not going to get anywhere. But, you know, it's like you can play. You know, when I have people come in for an audition for my bands, we spend 10, 15 minutes just talk. You know, off the bat, if they've got an attitude, if they've got an ego, if they want, you know. And business is business. They've got to, you know, I'm not saying lay down and take it when it comes to payment and things like that. You've got to earn your money. And I always believe that anybody that works, does anything, should be paid for it. Right. So my advice to young drummers is, you know, one, the only surefire way to fail is give up. That's the first thing. If you're still doing it, you've got a chance. How do you land these gigs? I'll be honest with you, 90% of it is being in the right place at the right time.
Right.
You know, and it's literally that. I might get a phone call from a drummer in the morning. Hey, I'm looking for a gig. Do you know anything? And then literally an hour later, somebody comes. I'm looking for a drummer. I go, it's forefront of my mind. Right place at right time. That's not to say every drummer on the planet call me every hour because that
would be the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly. Yeah. But I also appreciate, you know, people that do that. I mean, that really, really want it, and especially young guys. This is the guys that I've just started managing. They're 19 years old. Not only are they incredibly talented and are really good people, and you can get along with them. You know, they really want to succeed. And I've had guys come to auditions, you know, that go, yeah, well, I kind of I wasn't going to come today, but I thought I just might, you know what I mean? I might as well. Yeah. Okay. So what is it? How much does this gig pay? Well, you're part of a band. You'll get a cut of what the earnings are. Well, can you give me an idea before I even start playing? Well, immediately that guy's not going to get the gig.
Right.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, so, you know, I mean, I've told one guy, you might as well just F off now.
Right.
Because I don't care how good you are, you're obviously a dick, and it's true. So I say just be a nice guy, but learn your craft. And you know, as I say, it's like you don't, you know, do you need to be a, you know, I mean, as a drummer, you should be educated in every form of rhythm and drums. You should take lessons. I never took lessons. I was within 3 months of picking up a pair of sticks. I was out doing gigs effectively because I could play a beat, and I thought that was it. Oh my God, how stupid was I then? You know, and I love, as me and Bart knows, where I've got pads everywhere. I've got literally right next to me here. I've probably got about 80 odd pads. I'm just going to show you. You see these?
Yeah, so guys, you guys, his place is so cool. It's unbelievable. The drums there.
You know, and I've got 2 real feels here. I've got the aquarium pad. After this, I'm gonna be here for 15-20 minutes just working out on a pad. I love pads, and I never got a pad when I first started playing. I wanted to play the drums. So yeah, you know, educate yourself, become a great player, so that if there is, even if it's a rock band, but they want a reggae feel for a song, you know what a reggae beat is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, instead of the 2 and 4, to put the snare on the 3, you know what I mean? And things like that. That's always going to help you, because there's nothing worse. You can be a great guy, and you could be with plus, and of course, if you're in a band, if people diss Lars Ulrich, but ultimately that guy's done nothing wrong. He's one of he's arguably the richest drummer in the world, probably above Ringo and Dave Grohl, and he couldn't play a reggae beat if you put a gun to his head. But he's in one band. He runs that band, and he's absolutely amazing at what he does in that band. Not just playing, but but also all his business acumen as well. But what he does do, and this is something that I'm very keen on as a guy that never took lessons. He influences a generation of. He has a generational 3 of drummers. If you're, Iron Maiden and Metallica, the only 2 rock bands that transcend generations. There is no more. AC/DC don't really. You might get young kids there, but Metallica. If you're 7 years old and you want to be into metal, it's a Metallica t-shirt or an Iron Maiden t-shirt you're going to wear. They're going to be your gigs. So, Lars, and if you want to play the drums, you can look at Lars and go, oh my God, I can actually do that. This is not something, it's not much as, Thomas Lang's a great friend of mine, but he blows my mind. I can't even watch him play. It's just beyond, and I just want to, I'm more of a Simon Kirk and a Steve Jordan sort of groove guy. You know what I mean? That's what I like to hear when I'm playing, and that's, and I'm never going to be that technical, but learning different. I started taking lessons about 4 or 5 years ago from a good friend of mine, Gary Ferguson. I said, I want to learn Latin rhythms, and I want to, so I started getting into all that, because I can play hard rock, but again, it helps you with everything, doesn't it? So again, sorry, it's a long-winded answer to this question. We're probably out of time now, but
well, I have to corroborate this. We went out to lunch with Thomas Lang the other day, and he even eats really good. Like when he's just eating his food, it's like, how do you eat that good? I don't understand. He's an extraordinary guy, that's for sure.
Thomas isn't actually human. I'm actually sure of it. I think I think he's a cyborg or something.
Hey, Adam, I want to break in right here and give you guys a commercial. Whoever's listening and watching right now, there's going to be a master class with our own Bart Robley this Saturday, February 8th at 5 p.m. at Adam's Drum Room, Riverside, California. There's a link in the comments. Go to bartrobley.com. I believe there's still some spots open for the online sessions, so go check that out and get involved with the masterclass with Bart Robley at Adam's Drum Room, which leads me to ask you, what was your inspiration for Adam's Drum Room? What is it? How did it come to be?
Well, it's actually 4 rooms in this building now. It used to be a room in my house. I've got a 6-bedroom house, and one of them was like a mother-in-law suite, the sort of thing, with a big room with its own closet and its own bathroom. And I put my drum collection in there. And but I actually, to be honest with you, I just was running out of space. I'd buy more drums, and they'd go in the living room, and they'd go in the. Luckily, it's just me and my cat living there right now. But I do want my girlfriend to move in at some point, and she would come in and go, well, there's no room for me because his drums everywhere. So I decided, that there was no intention of doing a masterclass or anything here. It was just purely a room where friends could come and hang. I could just, to be honest with you, I've got 6 drum kits on its way from England right now. They'll be landing in Los Angeles in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Because I had a house in England and I collecting drums over there. So I've just shipped them over. And once they're in, I'm probably going to be full now. So I might have to getting more space because I can't stop buying. It's a disease, as we all know. If you're collecting, it is what it is. But so yeah, it's that's the inspiration was really just that I was running out of space in the house and I couldn't stop collecting. But then Rich Redmond, how all this came about with the Bart Clinic. Rich Redmond was going to be in town over NAMM and wanted a place. A friend of mine had seen this, and he said Bart knows Rich. If you want to speak to Bart, because he's looking to possibly a place to do a masterclass. I said, oh, my place is too small. But anyway, I said, Bart, you only live up the road. Bart's only 10, 15 minutes from me. Why don't you just come down and have a look? He came in. He said, yeah, I think we've space here, and we've got literally 20 seats. Enough with pads, we've got enough space. It's compact, but if we keep it to 20, I think we're almost just a couple of seats left, Bart, isn't it? I think we're almost.
Yeah, we're a couple of sheets shy. I've got 2 more people right now that have committed but haven't paid yet, and then a third one that last night said she'd let me know today. So we're getting close to 20.
Yeah, we're getting close to 20, and this is great. And now I've set it all up and I can see it. Thomas is going to do a masterclass for me, Thomas Lang, in May time, I think, depending on his schedule and mine, but somewhere around that. So yeah, it was just an idea, and I think it's going to be great. And Bart's going to be a great, he's really pushed this, and we got the people coming, and it's going to be a fun hang. I mean, that's what are you
right?
What are you going to feed Bart?
Probably money.
He's gonna sit across the room and throw Cheetos at me while I play.
He's gonna teach Bart how to fish.
Hey, I'm gonna come back to this for a second because I have to corroborate this. This really is how into drumming that Adam is. We went over to his house the other night after NAMM. Actually, I went over to his house the second day of NAMM. We rode together. And he goes, Bart, come here, you got to see this. And his cat's name is Bella. And he and I are very much alike, that we love animals. And he goes, here's my cat Bella. And this is Bella's drum set. He has a drum set in his living room that has all the heads off of it and has little beds in there. There's a head.
This is my cat laying in the snare drum of her kit. You see that?
So his cat has her own drum set. Now tell me how cool that is. I knew the guy was a good guy when I met him, but then when you have a cat with a drum set, I was like, man, this guy Adam's the best.
Well, how it was, Bella would, every time I'd be in the drum room, Bella would come in, and I'd lose her because she'd climb in the porthole of a bass drum, and she'd be in the bottom of the bass drum. So I thought she's now 8, she's coming up to 9 in June. For her 5th birthday, I would build her own kit. So so I put it in front of the window. It's like a cat tree almost, but there's like things that she can lay on. There's a symbol with a thing of it that she can play with. But she loves her drum kit, and of course it's a pearl drum kit, PURRL.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch that part.
Yeah. But anyway, no, it's I mean, genuinely, it was a drum kit I bought for $50 off Craigslist or whatever, and I covered it. She's a grey cat she's a girl cat, obviously, with a pink collar, so I covered it in grey and pink plastic wrap, and made this thing, and she just loves her. She loves her drums. She so there you go. Yeah, she now leaves mine alone. Kind of.
I have a video which I was just trying to find, but I can't find it quickly, of my cat playing the bass drum with her paws, going.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Was your cat playing paradiddles? Come on, come on! That was awesome.
On a more serious note, I want to address a comment that one of our good friends, Fred, made in the comments. I'm going to share it on the screen here. He says, "Great show, and at the same time, a bit hopeless." And I want to address that because I can understand feeling the feeling of, oh man, there's no money in this business. It's so difficult to make it. You work so hard to hone your craft, and then it's all just about being in the right place at the right time. Well, Adam, how would you address somebody who felt a little bit like, what am I doing here?
That's the absolute truth. I mean, I can't, I'm incapable of bullshit. All my acts know that. But what I say is this: you do what you love. We're on this earth one time,
Right?
And do I wish I could be playing a stadium, playing behind a kit? Sure, at times I do, but I just love drums. I'm a drum nut. I went to see Bart a couple of weeks ago play with Sam Morrison in this sort of restaurant. I've never seen a guy so happy playing the drums as I see Bart. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of pressure on it, but this is it. You just never, I mean, what are you looking to achieve from this business?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking to achieve from this life? I say you should be looking to achieve happiness, as little stress as you can, and live a long life and be happy, not doing a day job where you're longing for a retirement date, because you'll find that you're bored out of your mind. I'm never going to retire. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm going to probably tone down some of my roster, but I'm never going to retire. I'll be doing this till the day I die. I'll be loving drums till the day I die. And so it's all about, what are you looking to achieve? Set yourself goals. If you are looking to be a drummer in a stadium rock band, then first off, you got to be a nice guy. So if you're a dick, start learning how to be a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Get your chops up to a level where you're going to walk into an audition, because there's lots of cattle call auditions still. I don't do that. I choose. If I'm auditioning for a band, it's not. Most of my bands have got their guys in them, and they're not looking to change. But if they are, I already have people in mind. You know what I mean? And that I know, because I know a lot of drummers, I know a lot of people.
Right.
So and it's not always the gig is right for you. You can be
Right.
and sometimes your face just doesn't fit, and it's nothing to do with your personality or your talent. But again, just keep persevering. If you don't persevere, if you give up, the only surefire way to fail is to give up, because then nobody's gonna see you. Literally,
I gotta throw this in, if you don't mind. I think too, to kind of catapult off of what you're saying, Adam. I don't think it's hopeless, because I think that everything you're saying is true, and I know for myself. I said this on Facebook the other day. Sam always says, "Hey, it doesn't matter if you're playing out there for 20 people or you're playing for 10,000 people. Go out there and play like you're playing for 20,000 people. Just give it your all." So when and we'll play the gamut. We'll play little places, we'll play big places, and everything in between, as we all have here, as we all have. And then 2 nights later, I'm over here giving some drum lessons, and then I'm sitting over here working on a new book, and then I'm going to Adam's place and giving a drum clinic, and going over to Adam's house and looking at his cat's drum set. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to, if you're doing what you love. I mean, it sounds totally cliche, but you're not really working. You're doing something that you love, and it's about all the different the income that you get from that is great. Don't set your sights to just be a stadium guy or an arena guy. If that happens for you, awesome. But love what you do.
Well,
exactly. And and the thing is, put yourself out there on social media. Look at bands like Journey, Kansas, Boston. They've all found singers that have been in cover bands or tribute bands. So that's a way of doing it. So, playing in a bar band, well, for a start, you need to do that. That's one thing that I miss, and that affects my playing. I can play on my own. I can play to records. I can, but playing with musicians is a whole different thing. And that's so play. I know this is the old, everybody says this, but play out as much as you can. I think the bass player in Boston, I think it was Boston. Don't quote me on that. She was playing in a bar band one night when Tom Schultz walked in after a show. They needed a bass player. Storen went, "Do you want to join Boston?"
Yeah.
And wow, So she's literally playing covers in a bar band one night, probably with a big grin on her face and not looking like shit. I'm pissed off because I'm playing in a bar band.
Yeah, that's right. Well, one of the things I was going to say that sort of dovetails with that is that, it's so important to enjoy the process because, nothing wrong with setting goals and having dreams and aspiring to be in the big arena shows and to cover a modern drummer. That's beautiful. Great. But the process is pretty much all we have. And there's people I know who have had those tours and they're still miserable. Right.
Yeah.
So you really want to be careful what you wish for and be always enjoying the opportunity and grateful for the gifts that you have with the music you're playing, the people you're playing with, the venues you're playing in. And if you want more, keep practicing and keep reaching, but you got to enjoy it while you go.
Exactly.
Follow your bliss.
Yeah. We went up to Deck Day, and I always like to tell people that, like my students, you can tell when somebody's in their element, right? Like you can just tell. And I remember we went up to Deck Day in the Bay Area last year, and the night that we got into town, we went and watched Jeremy's band play, and Jeremy was so in his element, and I'm not just talking when he's up there playing. I'm talking about when he was on break and he was kind of mingling and talking to people and hanging out and having a few laughs. It was like, this is the guy's gig. I mean, look at him. He's walking around shining like a diamond.
Oh.
To me, that's beauty right there. That's what it's all about. It's, again, the stuff that happens on stage. That's the end result of a lot of hard work, but it's just who you are as a person around that makes you shine. That's what makes you, you're doing your thing.
Back to the question. I don't want to sound like I'm Debbie Downer. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm trying to do here. I just think you've got to know the reality of where it is, of where you are. But you become a committed player, a nice person, and you play around. It's about being in the right place at the right time. Where is that? Nobody knows. Right. Otherwise, everybody would be there.
Right.
God, I wish I was born in 1914, at 19 years old, bought 1 million 1959 Gibson Les Pauls. That'd have been nice. Right. But I wasn't in that place. I wasn't in that time. And if I had have been, what if there would have been 1 million of them out there now? What would they be worth? So you've got to look at it from a point of view. I always say this to everybody: just try and be happy with what you've got. I don't chase money. I do a great job, and the money comes. If you're committed to the instrument, you're committed. You live drums. You have that dream. We all, what I want right now? I want a 1981, 82 Yamaha black recording series, 22 by 14, 39, 16 by 16, mint condition. Money's no real object. Well, within reason. Do you know why I want that? Because I'm probably never going to find it. And that's good because I've got that dream. You're still chasing that dream. What's going to happen if I get it? It's going to go in one of the back rooms on a shelf, and that with the rest. So as you said, guys that are already in stadium bands that are not that happy because they've got it. You've got to chase that dream. That's what life's about. You've got to hope that one day you can be there. This is not putting this is just putting. I'm an honest guy. And I've done speeches in front of aspiring musicians, aspiring managers, and they go, how do you do it? Well, it's about doing exactly what I do. 14 years old, I wanted to be a manager. Now at 59 and a half, I am still that, and I'm never going to stop. And I've made a good career out of it. After leaving school with 0 qualifications, because I knew what I wanted. Stupid idiot I was then. But that's what you do at 14 years old. But I knew I was focused on it. And I went for it. Am I the world's biggest manager? Have I got the biggest? No, but that doesn't matter. I'm quite happy. I've not got. If you were managing the Foo Fighters, well, John Silver has a long relationship with Dave Grohl from years and years ago. But if you're a new manager coming in and you've got all of a sudden you have got a massive stadium act, you better be watching your back because there's 30 other managers would put a knife in that as soon as look at you to like get that gig. I'm quite happy. My acts, look, I do a great job for my acts, you know, and I make a good living to do what I want, which also means a little bit of time to come in here and play my drums. So really, who's successful?
Right. How do you find success? Exactly.
Yeah.
Adam,
Really
thank you.
appreciate your dose of reality too. There's so many younger players that come in and study with all of us who have their eyes set on stardom, and it's so beneficial for them to have an idea of what's really involved. And all you really have to do is look at a guy like Bart Robley or Fred Fisher, who's been on the show, who made the comment, and look at how diverse they are in all the steps that they take for their careers. They study drums. They have recording studios at home. Bart is a social media maniac. He's great with graphics. He plays original music. He plays cover music. He does clinics. If he's not doing a clinic, he's at the clinic. Bart is everywhere. It's no wonder that he's met, you know. And Fred Fisher,
you, Rick.
You out there. So it can be done, and there is hope, but you just have to be realistic.
Yeah. You know, I mean, because then.
Thank you, Rick.
I always say, you know, I never expect too much, because then I'm never disappointed.
Right.
I would sooner over disappointed, you know, and so I'm just a realist. I look at things, you know, sure. Do I hope one day before I pass away, I'm going to have an act that's doing 6 nights at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles? Of course, it'd be great. It'd be great. I mean, you know, not just for the fact that it really, if you take an act from ground and you build them up, there's a lot of satisfaction in that. Sure. But there's also a lot of satisfaction in a kid now learning his craft, having that one drum kit, that one set of cymbals. You know, people say to me, "What do you need all these drums?" I don't need. You need one kit if you're a drummer. Maybe 2 or 3 snares. I don't need this. I want this. This is my paradise. This makes me happy. Right. You know, when I have a bad day at the office, I can come in here. I can sit down behind one of 4 kits set up, and I can just have the time of my life. I don't
know. I think you need them, Adam. I think you need them. I really do. Especially, you know, am I looking at Chad Sexton's drum set behind you right there?
That's that one there. That was Chad's 78 Smoky Vista.
That's a cool kit.
311.
Smoky Vistas weren't really the Blue Vista was the most popular. The Smoky Vistas were not as popular. That's a cool drum set. That's
do you know what? You know what? Do you know people say what do you collect? I collect, and I don't pick a particular make. These are all, you know, the rest of the kits. These 3. There's a Silver Sparkle. See that Silver Sparkle, Champagne Sparkle, that's a white marine pearl, which is aged perfectly. A genuine 64. That's a 65, 66, I think. All one set Silver Sparkle, which has got the ginger ailing on, and that's a piece together Champagne Sparkle with different years, all Keystone badge though. But I didn't pay any more than $500 for all those drums individually, and you know, but I've just got them as a backdrop here. I've got, you know, people say, well, what do you collect? I mean, the reason I wanted a Smoky Vista, because in 1981 there was one in the window of a music store that I really wanted. I've got a very quick story. When COVID was on, I was on a Premier Facebook page, and I own my first pro kit was a Premier Black Shadow, which I sold in 1991, and then I now have that. And that's to a guy called John Shearer, who I think's probably listening into this. John was Steve Hackett's drummer in the 1970s, and he's a great friend of mine. And I sold it to him at his drum store in London, because I stopped playing for about 16 years, sold all my gear. And then so anyway, I put this post up, and I said, you know, is there what's your favorite Premier kit? Mine's a Premier Black Shadow, which I now have rebought from my original, but also a Premier Soundwave. It was a tri-band kit that was on the cover of the 1980. Sorry, it was a Mark II, so it would have been 1982 Premier brochure. And I loved it, and it was a great thing. There was one in a music store in Nottingham where I grew up. But at those times, I wanted a double bass drum kit. I was into the whole rock thing, the D.E.C. toms. This was a 5-drum kit. I didn't have the money to buy more than one kit. I didn't have the place to store more than one kit, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, somebody said to me, there's one of those kits currently on eBay. I know you're in LA, but it's in Glasgow, Scotland. So I contacted the guy. And as I say, this kit I wanted was in the window of this music store back in '82, but I never bought it. So I was talking to the guy, and I said, listen, I've got a friend in Glasgow. I'm going to buy it off you now. I'm going to have him come and get it. I said, it's going to go back to Nottingham, to my house for a time. He went, oh, I was at university in Nottingham in the early 80s. And I actually bought this kit in Nottingham.
No.
And all of a sudden I went, not from a music store called Folds on Market Street. He went, yeah. I said, that wasn't the kit that was in the window, was it? He went, yeah. So I now own, that's actually on a boat right now, coming from England here. It's so I actually acquired the kit I wanted in 1982 now, and I have the Black Shadow, and I have this. So a lot of these kits, a lot of these things are just like, I've got a ton of Rogers 3 big R's. I've got 3 of them. And why? Because I wanted a Rogers big R. It was in a music store window. Couldn't afford it. So I've now got a blue, a black, and a white. Why not? You know, why only have one?
That's
Anyway,
so cool.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on our show. It's been a delight talking to you, and thank you for sharing all your wisdom and honesty.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you so
You
much.
bet. Hey, so next week we don't have any book next week, do we, Jeremy?
I don't think so.
I'll look at the calendar. We're for next week. We will definitely be here. But let's thank Adam Parsons again for coming on the show today. I'll get this up on the audio version of the podcast ASAP. And for right now, we're going to listen to Rick Stojak just rip us up.
We'll give
Thanks,
you a little.
Adam.
Thank you, everyone.